Well, I'm not sure, but it says it is alive. So one didn't work last week. It works this week. So welcome everybody. So good to see everyone. Trust that we're alive across the board. It looks like we are. So, oh, happy day. So, yeah, let's rock on. So good to see everyone. Let me just speak favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And that's how we like to roll. Be of service to others, and happy Prosperity Monday. So good to see everyone. Blazing River, how you doing? Joe, Bonnie, Bernadette, good to see you, my dear. Ballot Brandon, how are you, my friend? Yosley, I see you. Okay, we're good. We're good. Lost in space. So I don't know. Last week it wasn't. This week it is. I just kind of consider it favor, and we'll take it. DC, what's up? Good to see you, brother. Carol, hello. Good to see you, Deborah. Joe Sapien, good to see you, Susie Q. Much love to you, darling. Hello, Robert V. Good to see you, brother. Here it's cold up in your part of the woods. Yeah, I hear you. Go. Good to see you. Jesse James Travels. What's up, man? Good to see you. Ruby, hello. How are you? Thank you, all the moderators. And there's Miss Trina. I'll be with Miss Trina tomorrow. Much love to you, darling. Good to see you, hon. Truth Seeker, good to see you. Danny, man, everybody filing in. Good to see everyone. Thank you for hitting the like button as you're filing in, or whatever it is. I'm just glad to see you. Kind of makes it part of my favorite part of the day, and why not? Mary Wins, hello, how are you? Kirk Plain, good to see you. What else? Jules, good to see you, darling. See, Lori, how are you? Good to see you as well. This message is held for review. Why? I don't understand. Emperor Rex, good to see you as well. So, Grace, what's happening? Good to see you, girl. Trina, we're going to have a fun time tomorrow. So, I love this. This is Thanksgiving week. Big day in America. Every day's Thanksgiving, though. Yeah, but anyway, the ways of men, it just you wonder. We're such a, give me 1 second here as I turn that down. It's like a no sale zone, right? But anyway, every day should be Thanksgiving. If you give thanks ahead of time before something manifests, it seems to help it, move right along. Robert Garcia, good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while. Jackie, what's up? Let's see, what else? John, how are you doing? How is your significant other? How's she doing? Sending you healing thoughts there, brother, and encouragement. It means we're going to add to your courage, and hers too. We'll stand in as the proxy, as they used to say. I'll stand in the hedge. Yeah, strange term. It's interesting. This weekend, we happened to come across folks that we used to know when we were deeply intoxicated, as she would say, in our religious belief. And wow, it taught me a good lesson. I meditate on it, and in fact, I tossed and turned on it. When I was heavily involved in that faction and meeting with all of the top televangelists and on and on. And, at the time, I thought I was on a mission from God. I mean, my giving app was the first app of its mobile giving app. And, it changed the world. Knew it, saw it in a vision. But I was so heavily wow, my mindset, my perception was, I thought it was broad, but as I look back now, it was very narrow. And I remember sitting there last night before going to sleep that, wow, is my vision any broader now? Is it any narrower? Because what I realized looking back is, whoa, I see it today in such a different light. I consider that to have favor, it's truly to be blessed. I mean, isn't that what life's about, I guess, in this realm, is being able to look back and say, hey, lesson learned. So anyway, Nick Bravo, what's happened? We're on a mission from God. Exactly. I really did. I was convinced of it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, just, add it to the jar there. And it's like, okay, yeah. Always, look at everything without a jaundice eye, so to speak. There's joy in it all, isn't there? Brenda, how are you? Milky's mom. I was thinking of y'all here recently. Trust you're doing good. Favor. Happy Thanksgiving. And we send you much love. Thank you. Ginger, Lauren, how are you? Thank you. I'll just take that. Receiving the favor, I was like, okay. What does Roger Daltrey sing? Love, rain on me. So just let that favor come down. Hey, Sweet Tea, what's up? Good to see you. Rod Mingle, good to see you as well. Man. So, yeah, and the stranger part to that, there's, side A and side B of, I can look at those people and I know what they think of me. How could a guy, I mean, I've actually had it told to me that said, well, you just fulfilled, 2 Peter. No need to pray for you. Actually had to write that. Yep. We have stopped praying for you have committed the ultimate unforgivable sin. Holy crap, Batman. Okay, so much for all that, huh? But anyway, we just, Angel Dreams, how are you doing? Street Mom, how are you doing, my dear? Sending you much love. Just give a big old smile on your face. Good to see you. I have the Maelstrom. Hello. I am Nancy. Good to see you as well. But anyway, it's interesting. Prosperity at one time meant material wealth. That's how you measured, someone who said they were prosperous, because prosperity means money, and there are complete, I can call them cults, I can call them denominations, whatever, that believe that. I was one of them. I could quote to you, and still can, verse after verse after verse, where God says that he is going to bless me financially, going to increase my gold, going to increase my house, going to give me increase of everything. I mean, I can quote it to you verbatim. It's in there, but it's real interesting. Regina, good to see you, my dear, as well. And I still see I guess it's in a way, is it a conditioning? I don't know. But I do know that prosperity exists. It's in nature. Even though here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're entering into late fall, winter, and, you look at nature all around, and yet it seems dead. But it's not. It's renewal. There is renewing of life taking place that will be seen in probably less than 12 weeks, maybe a little longer, maybe 16 weeks, but nevertheless, it's taking place. That's prosperity. At least I think it is. Julie, what's up? Good to see you, my dear. Sounds like bribery to me. Never could figure out that whole tithe thing. It's like, okay, so God has everything, but he's requiring me to pay 10%. You want to know where the mafia got their business model? Right out of the Bible. I actually said this, true story. I was in a church in Maryland. No, excuse me, Delaware. And so when I was bringing out the first mobile giving app for churches, nonprofits, man, the churches were really, really against it. I mean, wow. I had more than one church board call me the Antichrist himself, because they feared it. It's odd, I did all the marketing and the research, and, when you have virtually your whole congregation has a cell phone, and you have to remember, folks, this was back in 2008, 2009. And so the pastor of this one church invited me, and he opened it up. It was at night. I think it was actually a Sunday service. And nice guy, really nice guy, and admired him. Good man, cared for people. So he says, well, I'm going to turn over what I would normally give, the message, and I'm going to turn this over to this young man. Now it's I thought, well, thanks, called me a young man. But this was a predominantly Black church. So I am, the only white dude there, except for the people that were with me. And I remember getting up, and, you have the eye. What's this dude doing? What kind of snake oil is he selling? And what won the audience over, there was one of the deacons got up, because I opened it up to Q&A, and he says, what gives you the right to make money off of what has been given to God? Good question. My answer to that was, because, that's a trap. If you're not sincere about it, you could really just self-implode on that. I mean, what gives you the right? I mean, think about it. You're making a profit off of that money that has been given in tithes and offerings. Serious stuff here, folks. So I looked at him and I said, I appreciate the answer, the question. I said, here's my answer. I said, when God led the children of Israel out of Egypt, and the Levitical tribe was set up, the priesthood, I said, there had to be a provision made for the priest, because they didn't get a share of the land. So therefore, their sustainability was through not just the generosity of the people, but the command. It was in the commandments. Read the book of Leviticus. And I said, God required 10%. I said, my company, we take less than 2.5%. I said, so actually, we're cheaper than God. Got a standing ovation. Really did. So anyway, enough down the memory road, because I'm sure all of you are like, what the hell? But it was part of my experience. So I'm just vicariously sharing it. So let's get into some stuff. I was going to name this, You Don't Know Angels, And I understand the angel cards are done, are being mailed out. So outstanding. Way to go. We just had to be patient, and patience has its rewards. Scotty boy, what's up? Cowboy 8, good to see you. So hello, Power Lady, good to see you as well. No questions asked. How is it that your name is pronounced? Oh, see, I'm just dropping in the chat room. So I started this weekend. I have gone through the Children of Fire. Wow, we're going to spend time on it. It's worth it. We have we've taught a lot, learned a lot on this channel on angels, and as everyone knows, the beliefs of angels and their characteristics is so diverse. I mean, not only is there a plethora of it, but the dichotomy of perceptions. It's amazing. And Scully, what's up? Our government, yeah, they do. In many cases, if you look at, you see my video on Ball and the House chamber, you begin to realize, holy crap. Melissa, good to see you as well. So there's a lot of shows. There's shows on Amazon Prime and Netflix and others on angels. A lot of different things. Angels have taken on a role now. I would equate it to the Titans, you know, the mythological Greek Roman gods, going all the way back to Sumer. You know, man has always had the gods, and there's always been messengers of the gods. And are they real? Are they not? You know, I still stand by the fact that I saw it and I knew it because there were other people in the congregation. But boy, it's going way back, about 1979, 78, when we saw what I just knew as an angel. Didn't have wings. Come to find out, most of them don't. Justice for all. My guardian angel is Metrodron, aka the first man turned Seraphim. Interesting. I like that. Danny, what's up? I like this. You see, the viewpoints are as diverse as they can be. So let me share this. I got this pulled up here, and we'll just kind of, I want to get into it. By the way, another book out here for everybody, if you like it, is the Book of Ceremonial Magic. Yeah, it's another good read. If you don't have it in your library, you should. All right, I want to get right into this because this is pretty heavy stuff. I mean, I like what their research and how they've incorporated it into this role-playing game. And that's what makes this really cool. So give me 1 second as I pull that up to there. Thank you. All right, I'm going to get right into it. This is really cool. So the methodology behind the Children of Fire is that it started with the creation of Children of Fire with one precept in mind. Let the research dictate the course of the game, not the other way around. Too many times we start a project having already determined its outcome. We are not open to the wondrous possibilities that present themselves. This is not the case with Children of Fire. The tone of this game was entirely derived from what the research suggests. And I got this strange sense as I was reading this over the weekend. It's interesting because once the thought is injected into your consciousness, I believe it opens doors. I believe that all of us channel. Some are better at it than others, but we all do. Not saying that we're all good at it, but we do channel. And it's interesting because once you become aware of something, yeah, it goes, huh, okay. So It goes, many works were used to complete the body of information presented here. Among the primary books were the following: Malcolm Godwin's Angels, Endangered Species, because Gustav Davidson, and if you don't have that, I do on PDF, A Dictionary of Angels. I did a whole show on that one. Florentino Garcia Martes, The Dead Sea Scrolls Translated, the books of Enoch, and some of the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg. We've covered him as well. Ironically, the Bible serves as a rather poor source for angels. In fact, if you really look at the Bible, it's so vague in areas that, it leaves it open for a lot of interpretation. I'll just leave it like that. Only the angels Michael and Gabriel are mentioned in it. And as I told you last week, in both cases, they have death. Both of these angels, these angelics, bring death to humans. Gabriel's got more blood on its hands than any other angel that I know of. Now, there may be many others, but this one, we do have record of this one particular angel can wipe out. I would dare say he could wipe out the entire population of the earth and do it in record time. If one is to include the Apocrypha work of Tobit and Raphael, one can also be added to this list. In cases where biblical scripture depicted the intervention of an angel, an alternate source was almost always consulted to get greater detail and to identify the specific celestial. And we have a whole list of different ones. I mean, if you go with the story of Abram, who was from Sumer, the three angels that he fed. So we know that angels eat, at least, from a biblical perspective. But we also know that these angels brought death to Sodom and Gomorrah. They were also the angels that apparently humans have this overwhelming innate desire to have sex with angels. Read the book, you'll get the story. It says, while the author tried to remain true to the sources, there were some instances which changes had to be made for the game to play for reasons. That's cool. Wonder how much of this was channeled. For instance, most sources claim that all the Nephilim and the Anakim, the giants, were wiped out at the time of the flood. We know that that is not true. Through the text seems to indicate these abominations no longer existed. The inclusion of them in modern history helps to expand the dimensions of the game. Well, we know that can't be true. The gene continued to live on. If you go with the story of, David and Goliath. Many texts contradicted each other and, in fact, often contradicted themselves. Ain't that the truth? This is especially true as it relates to the duties and the exploits of specific angels. These ambiguities had to be cleaned and cleared in the context of the game. The author did his best to resolve these issues in the fairest manner and with an eye for the interest of the gameplay. Lastly, there are many aspects of celestial society that could not be ascertained through research. These facets of settings and gameplay were simply made up. For instance, no source alluded to a specific group of forces being used by a particular order of angels. This element was added to increase diversity and regulate celestial abilities. So it's really kind of cool to see that you have a mix of fact, maybe understandings of certain writings, and then some creative imagination. I love that. And in the midst of all this, we've got something that is really unique. Now, we covered on the aspect that, Hollywood has polluted or propagated the image of angels, and it's just recently, and I say that in recently in the last 15 plus years that we saw a different personification of angels. The Prophecy is one where Christopher Watkins plays Gabriel. And I always loved the scene where Daniel, who was the cop, that used to be an altar boy or was going to become a priest. And anyway, I won't get into that. But Satan appeared. And I like what he said to the human, because the angels see us as monkeys. They call us monkey man. I mean, that's how they see us. We're disgusting. We're filthy. Our habits, the things that we do, I mean, there's just a lot of grossness to it. But anyway, Satan, not Lucifer, Satan said, here's the problem with Gabriel, because Gabriel had revolted in heaven, as you recall. He says, there's not enough room for another hell. There's only one hell. And it's really interesting because it absolutely mirrors the fact there's only one heaven, but within each one of those structures, there are levels. So I want to get into this, but to kind of get into it. Okay, what are angels? I found this really fascinating. The way we see angels is colored by Hollywood's candy-coated imagery. They are portrayed as peaceful, perfect beings of goodness and virtue. They are unflawed, unblemished. This is a lie. Though angels are not so simply understood. The children of fire are complex creatures composed of countless contradictions and ambiguities. It is difficult for our minds to grasp the true concept of the children of fire. Their form and function are mysterious and unique. Though they are not of the material world, so need not follow our physical laws. Very important. There is no other way to describe them but to endow them with physical traits and abilities. With all these explanations, dear reader, keep in mind that the descriptions are far more concrete than the abstract reality they represent. Boy, there's a... Wow. Their descriptions are far more concrete. Their concepts of space and time are far more fluid than ours. But as we are not angels, we can only describe them in the words of men. Among the children of fire, there is great diversity. Every choir has its own flavor, every order its own uniqueness, every angel his own individuality. With that said, however, there are some general points that can be made about all members of the celestial hierarchy. The following section seeks to explore these commonalities. Now, obviously, we have images of angels, but quite frankly, the images that we have are really of the postmodern era. Truth is, there's very few depictions of what angels actually look like. So 2.12, in their true form, we as humans can hardly perceive what the children of fire truly look like. Within the seven heavens, they are colossal creatures who are composed of varying degrees of celestial material. They are not of matter, but rather of energy. To the children of clay, that's us, they would appear as shifting vestiges of unstable energy held together with what must be seen as fragile web of imagery. To their brethren, though, they are very discernible and distinct. For the sake of the game feasibility, angels should be described in very human terms when dealing with other celestials. So it gives us some foundations. But the fact is, it's very difficult for humans to accurately take a look at that as to what they are. Most angels are often of two-winged variety. These wings jut from their backs like birds, spreading out to either side. Their bodies are humanoid, though much larger than the average man. Their faces are neither inherently perfect nor inherently flawed. They are as diverse and unique as human faces. Their description, of course, only applies to the lower 6 choirs. The seraphim, cherubim, and thrones bear little resemblance to their lesser brethren. Their descriptions will be left for another time. Though the above description does reflect what the children of fire look like to each other in their natural form, one fact should be remembered. Celestials have quite a lot of latitude when it comes to what appearance they portray to others. In many respects, they can portray themselves however they see fit. One last point should be noted. By nature, the children of fire are androgynous, sexless. In their true forms, they are neither male nor female, possessing none of the distinctive physical features of either. They are not hermaphrodites, being both male and female, as some have suggested. This is completely opposite of their true nature. While in the hidden form, however, they can assume either a male or female guise. While on Earth, the children of fire have a number of options on how to present themselves. These are known as forms. There are 3 forms of celestial can choose from. Number 1 is the subtle, 2 the divine, and 3 hidden. Transformation between forms can be done at will, but the process takes 5 to 10 seconds to complete. In addition, only when the celestial is in the ethereal state can he ascend to the heavens. The subtle form. This is perhaps the least common shape angels take on while on earth. In this shape, they are merely a presence passing through the material world. They are formless, substanceless, and very difficult to detect by other celestials. Humans, without the aid of magical amulets, have no chance whatsoever of detecting them. In this shape, the child of fire can have virtually no effect on the world of matter and substance. They are no more the watchers, no more than mere thoughts. Most of their forces will not operate or will work in diminished capacity. In this state, they can travel to distant locations at the blink of an eye. The divine form. While in this form, the children of fire assume a smaller likeness of their true celestial bodies. They can choose to be ethereal or material, substanceless or substantive. If they choose an ethereal state, the children of clay can generally not see them. Whether they are ethereal or material, they are always visible to other celestial creatures. To appear before a human in this shape can be quite a traumatic experience. Most angels' true form is far from the sublime and lovely visage we might expect. Indeed, some of the creatures are downright hideous to behold. Most humans of low courage will faint or flee at the sight of a child of fire. Only the angel's soothing words can calm them. And I can tell you from biblical studies and the studies I've done in the occult on my own, there are many references to just this. In fact, if you read the book of Daniel, Daniel fainted when Michael appeared to him. And it wasn't for the fact of Michael speaking to him, would Daniel have gotten up. Read the story. In the divine shape, children of fire can use all their forces to full potential. Some forces, however, require that the celestial be material in order to perform them. The hidden form. This is the most common shape celestials take while passing among the children of clay. Here, they assume a human guise to carry them on their duties. This shape is always in the material state. It has a very few distinct advantages. In this state, a child of fire's true nature is very difficult to detect by other celestial beings. This is especially true if the angel refrains from using any celestial forces that might give him away. While most forces can be used to their full potential, there are a few that children of fire cannot use while in the hidden shape. In addition, there is one or more added hindrance. Because the child of fire must assume a material state to take this form, he cannot instantly ascend to the gates of the first heaven. The angel must first change to an ethereal state, a process that takes 5 to 10 seconds. There is one last feature of the hidden shape that demands discussion here. All angels, while in this shape, have certain signatures they display no matter what type of body they assume. The signature may vary greatly between angels, but it is always there. Signatures may include, but are not limited to, the following. The child of fire always transforms himself into humans with specific impediments. For instance, the angel is always missing an eye. Some children of fire will only transform into certain types of people, children, midgets, old women, etc. Lastly, the child of fire can choose a signature relating to a certain item or manner of dress. Perhaps the angel always wears green or a specific medallion. Telepathy and illumination. Make sure I got the time. Children of fire have 3 ways of communicating speech: telepathy and illumination. Speech is only used on earth and is generally limited to communicating with the children of clay. Though they can speak while in heaven, the process is far more cumbersome than telepathic transmission. All angels possess the ability to telepathically communicate with any child of clay or celestial within sight. Through this process, thoughts are projected directly into the mind of the target. Only the sender and receiver of a telepathic message can hear it. If the recipient is a child of clay, the conversation is one-sided, since under normal circumstances, humans cannot reciprocate. It must be stressed that telepathy does not allow the angels to read the thoughts of others. It is merely another means of communication. Illumination, on the other hand, is far more effective method of communication. It can only be done from angel to angel, and the celestial doing the illuminating must be of a higher triad than the one he is trying to illuminate. Thus, angels of the same triad or even the same choir cannot utilize this power with each other. Illumination is like passing complete understanding of a story or situation in the blink of an eye. No words are exchanged, no discussion needed. The recipient simply comprehends all that the transmitter is trying to get across. This ability is most often used by greater angels to send their subordinates on missions. Though most angels using this power must be in the presence of the target, it is said that those of the first triad can use it over vast distances. Movement. Getting around is much more complex for the children of fire than the children of clay, because these divine creatures must exist in different states and form. There is a plethora of choices when it comes to methods of transportation. While in the 7 heavens, movement is most natural for them. Here, they move much like the children of clay do on earth. It is this realm they have the ability to walk or fly. On earth, the realm of matter, things become a bit more convoluted. Here, their ability to traverse the globe is dependent on the form they assume. Those choosing a non-material state, the subtle or divine, can move at great speeds, usually 50 times greater than normal humans. They may also pass through most matter without impediment. The one exception is that no angel, while in the ethereal state, can penetrate deep below the earth's surface. It seems that the surface of the earth, be it soil, rock, or water, acts as a repulsive force in these cases. Large masses of matter tend to push against the ethereal being. The further they travel through it, the more the resistance. This is also true for angels in deep underground caverns trying to get to the surface. Can anyone say abandonment? Is that where those watchers are at, chained to the wall, that Michael and Gabriel and Raphael put them? The other option the children of fire have while in the ethereal state is teleportation. With this ability, they can appear at any point on Earth. The same subterranean rules as above apply. In most cases, though, it is an imprecise method. The child of fire usually appears in the general vicinity of his destination, but rarely directly at it. For example, a child of fire attempting to teleport to a specific church will often find himself standing a few blocks away from it. The distance the celestial appears from the desired location is totally up to the storyteller and is governed by the needs of the story. So you have a little bit to work with. I like that. Technology, interaction with technology. Technology poses a very serious problem for the children of fire. Technology is a manifestation of man's ability to act as creator. It is totally and utterly removed from the divine, a fact that does not necessarily make it evil. Because they are not part of the web of God's creation, technological advances are difficult for angels to utilize and interact with. That's interesting. I had never thought about it that way before, but if man has created it, God didn't create it. Remember in the book of Enoch when, the 20 angels had come to Michael, I believe it was, or no, who was it? I think it may have been, it was Enoch, excuse me, and said, would you intercede on our behalf before God? And along with them, the second time that Enoch was called upon was the giants. And the God of the Bible said, he says, I had nothing to do with them. I didn't create them. And therefore, they are an abomination. There's nothing legally I need to do about it. And in fact, he said their own fate has been in their own hands. Well, that's interesting because in there's an admission that apparently other beings can create things that God of the whole, spaghetti factory can't do. So if our technology is created by man, wow. Because they are not part of the web of God's creation, technological advances are difficult for angels to utilize and interact with. As time passed and the future became the present, this problem was suddenly becoming more unnerving. In a campaign set in that far future, technology may lift man to a state nearly as powerful as the angels of fire. And when I got this one, immediately I recalled is what was at the Tower of Babel? Didn't God say to whoever the other two were, hey, listen, we got a problem here. If they ever get their shit together, and if they ever unite on anything, they're going to become like us. Can't have that. So interesting. Makes you wonder, well, then if God can see the future, then did he not see this potential issue coming up? Of course, there is the other point. Well, God sees everything, knows everything. How can you just merely question God? Well, because I am God. Not the God, but I'm certainly a God. I have every right to question anyone who's claiming to be the God. Trust is earned, not given. Respect is only shown where respect is due. I digress. The more technologically advanced it is, the harder it will be for a child of fire to comprehend its use. A gun, for instance, will be far easier to comprehend than a calculator would. It is not the complexity of things which makes it hard to use. It is merely the technological know-how that went into making it that is important. I mean, do you really think an angel knows how to use a computer? We got this strange idea that there's somehow these superhuman, super intelligent. Maybe not so. They have more experience. They've seen more. They have acquired more knowledge, some greater wisdom. But I wonder if they could really interact. Just throwing it out there, or whatever. It is merely the technological know-how that went into making it that's important. As a simple and not always accurate rule of thumb, assume that developments and inventions that came later in the human timeline are more difficult for celestials to deal with than early ones. The rules section in this game will give storytellers and players an idea of how to incorporate this aspect into the story. So it's a foundational, what they're saying, that their research has shown that, wow, it makes you think, can an angel really see the future? Lots of questions I always find in these. I like this. All right, origins. The Almighty brought the children of fire into existence long before the creation of the material world and the children of clay. Their number, roughly 400 million, has been fixed since the beginning of time. Contrary to what we might like to believe, angels are a separate species set apart from man. Those good souls who die do not return to earth as angels spreading peace and love. It's interesting. Those good souls who die do not return to earth as angels spreading peace and love. There are two main factions of the children of fire, the sons of light and the sons of darkness. The sons of light, who constitute 2/3 of the holy host, still claim allegiance to God. And again, we've gotten into this debate ad nauseum. I mean, if God is perfect, how could there be a rebellion? Why would there be a rebellion? Maybe because it ain't perfect. The sons of darkness, comprising the remaining third, show allegiance to Samuel, the accursed one. Well, we know Samuel very well here. The children of fire are immortal, but they are not eternal. Only God is eternal, having no beginning, no end. Still, being celestial creatures makes our concept of death mean nothing to them. They can, however, be destroyed, though this is a rarity indeed. Only extraordinary forces can cause a child of fire to cease to exist entirely. Day-to-day confrontations between angels and demons are unlikely to produce such results. Well, that would be stalemate then, wouldn't it? An example of angelic destruction occurred at the time of the material world was created. When the Almighty purposed the creation of man, the angels of peace and truth were leery of this idea. Why were they leery? But we get this in the book of Genesis. You get it in the Quran. It's everywhere. So you have angels questioning the Almighty. It's interesting. They made their complaints known to the Almighty, and for this dissension, they were destroyed. Wow. So much for temperance, patience, understanding. Hell no. You question it, you're out of here. Yikes. In their original inception, the children of fire were to ceaselessly praise God. Again, that is the epitome of the ultra ego. A duty they joyously fulfilled. Yeah, what's your alternative? Hell yeah, I'm happy here. Well, why'd you say that? Well, they get the damn thing, the gun out of my back, right? I look at that and go, wow. With the sin of man and the fall of Samuel, now who did first here, right? Though their task changed, many of them were sent out upon the world to help the children of clay achieve salvation and to do battle with the forces of darkness. So there's a war here. When I read this, I said, well, were we drafted? I mean, what? They drew us into a war that we have no business and no part of. We should have never, but, that's just my opinion. It is in this capacity that they have passed among us and will continue to pass among us for centuries to come. Who knows, millennial, right? The sons of light are not perfection, though. They are inherently flawed beings. The lack of a soul has made them like ancient children. They tend to let their whims take control and often stray from the most righteous path. At the core, they are still good, but there is always the chance they may fail or fall. Ironically, it is the children of clay who they were sent to protect that represents the greatest corrupting influence. The passions and indulgences of the material world are often too much for these celestial creatures to resist. Wow. I mean, this just go into commentary on this one. If you were to play this game and begin to develop the character of a potential child of fire, I mean, think about this. Wow. It brings to me, I think, more of the point that just how we're not the God, but we are definitely gods. I mean, if we have this type of control over a creature that far outdates us. Well, let's read about Lilith's man here. The fall of Samuel was once the greatest and most loved of all the children of fire. He was prince of the choir of the seraphim, leader of all the heavenly host. But Samuel became corrupted, losing the grace of God, that's favor, and in doing so caused a third of his brethren to rebel against the Almighty. Again, it is, as much of my searching, it still eludes me. If you have perfection, how can you have a revolt? I mean, what, do you just get tired of things, just being perfect? That's what the architect said in the Matrix, right? Says, you people can't, we tried it number of times. Everything was perfect, but you managed to screw it up every time. You like suffering. You like, the whole list. Says there are varying accounts of how this once beloved angel who became Lucifer, Satan, became so vile and corrupt. The official version set down in the Book of Chronicles, one of the 9 celestial tomes, said it was pride that caused Samuel's fall. The mighty seraph Metrodon writes, And the prince of the seraphim thought much of himself. He became boastful and arrogant, thinking himself greater than even God. Such thoughts lead to resentment. Resentment led to dissension, and dissension led inevitably to rebellion. So was that the once brightest of angels rose up against his creator, and a multitude of celestial battled beside him. I mean, I don't even think Star Wars, Star Trek can ever, this had to be a battle of just, I don't know if we would ever have a description for it. And it's still, to me, it's insane. It's just insane. If Lucifer exists, I tell you, that'd be the one I'd want to talk to. I'd have to find out. Tell me the truth on this. Is this bullshit here? Is this a cover story? What really happened here? But we'll go with the narrative. The sons of darkness see the event in a totally different light. No pun intended, right? They portrayed Samuel as a dutiful and ever humble servant of the Almighty. They claimed their leader was forsaken by God because he was too obedient. It is their assertion that the Almighty was inconsistent with his edicts. Of course, the sons of light reject this claim. And what are they going to do? That's a lie. That's a lie. Just keep on going. Well, wait. Is it possible? I mean, we can't accept the story just as some celestial is trying to tell us. And an intelligent being would go, well, now, wait a minute. That's your story. I got this thing called the Bible and all the rest of these books that give your story. But you know what? I lack a lot of material from the one you're accusing. Because if he writes anything, it's automatically a death penalty for you to read it, much less talk about it. Just another point of view. At the time of his fall, Samuel had many allies. He brought havoc to the halls of heaven, leading a third of the children of fire to stray from God. Among the fallen were the 9 princes of the celestial choirs, for they had become prideful as well. Well, maybe. It was easy for Samuel to rally them behind his cause. The greatest loss came in the choir of powers, who, having always been the most susceptible to corruption, were quick to join the forces with the Dark One. In all, almost half of this choir rose up against the Almighty. I mean, a simple psychologist would have to sit God down and say, now, let's talk, and let's be honest. You're perfect here. All your ways you say are perfect, then why are people rebelling against you? You always say that it's their fault, but do you think that it might be your fault? And you can't handle that? Your ego won't allow you to accept that? Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. But it still comes back to you. That little vignette was brought to you by, but more children of fire remained faithful than did not. Although the sons of darkness boasted many powerful angels, the sons of light had their own mighty angel to lead them. That angel was the seraph Michael. He led the sons of light into battle against the sons of darkness to determine who would have control of the heavens. In the end, the sons of light were victorious, and all the fallen were cast out of the higher heavens. They were relegated to the second heaven, where they live in eternal darkness, separated from the goodness and light. Many, however, have escaped to earth, bearing evil progeny and trying to infect the children of clay with their weakness. I still can't help but say, in the beginning was God, right? And God said, let there be light. And behold, light was, and God said that light was good. Again, I present to the court the fact that this God did not come from light. If there was no light until it created light, was it the rebellious one? Because it's obvious its origins is darkness. The prosecution rests. No. Anyway, yeah. The sons of darkness, hereafter referred to as demons, are aware that they cannot directly contend with the power of God and the superior number of righteous angels. As a result, they have formed hit squads. No, they have changed their tactics. Now they seek to hurt the Almighty by causing his precious creations, the children of clay, to turn away from him. And I see that I've run out of time. Folks, maybe some of you don't find this as nearly as fascinating to me, but I find it beyond fascinating. It's another attribute to these celestial beings that all of us are going to see on the other side. Now, if you've taken astral journeys out there and other journeys out of your body, you know that they exist. They exist in a wide amount of different various forms. There's a lot of creation out there. A monkey experiment. Until Steimus had trouble. Some 93. Okay. Margarita said Michael has been a profound help to her life. Yeah, he helps me clear my space daily. So many beautiful angels to help us. You see, it's a fascinating topic, and we'll get more into it because it so defines these roles that with your understanding, and we've covered so much of this, as we'll probably still cover more in the future. And remember, in January, we'll be going to Rumble to do live shows. But Scotty Boy, did light just show up and start calling the shots? You see, the hell with dark, and do we run the show? That's my whole point. Brian, 1958, thanks. It is a very interesting. I mean, folks, it's just right there in black and white. If this thing created light, then it came from darkness. It doesn't say anything like, and God was from a light, okay. Remember in the Bronze Book, the Colburn Bible, this light thing, well, they tell it in a little bit different tone, because when the light came, it wiped out universes, they say. Yeah. And if you look into the universe itself, I was out late last night. Oh, folks, the stars are just fantastic. But anyway, I'm looking at the past. In many cases, like if you're looking at Orion, where I like to focus in and around, that light is, who knows how many light years old. It's not even what it is when I'm seeing it. But my point is that if there wasn't darkness, the light could never shine. Anyway, I digress. Blazing River, thank you. And God said, let there be light, illumination, knowledge. Well, it doesn't say that in the Hebrew, but if you're saying that the Logos is the light, it's interesting. The spirit box is jumping. I bet it is. Okay, folks, so tomorrow I'll be with Miss Trina. We'll talk more about this, and I find it fascinating. Let me know your comments on it. Thanks for hitting the like button, and thank you. Thank you for the platform and the place where we can share knowledge, different ideas, mingling with that which we already know, and getting different perspective, whether it is creative writing or not. It definitely adds flavor to it, doesn't it? Okay, until tomorrow, they watch us, listen, and if you talk to them, be careful. Do it with respect. Mary, you're absolutely right, my love. Love is our superpower. I like that. All right, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.